Transition from immediate survival to long-term survival. Surviving the first 30 days after a collapse is just the tip of the iceberg. The initial chaos of confusion, violence, and uncertainty subsides, leaving behind a sobering reality. This isn't temporary. Short-term quick fixes, panic-driven survival, and emotional instability can only get you so far. By now, you've managed to secure the basics: food, water, and shelter. The supplies run out, tempers flare, and the shock begins to fade. What's left is the daunting realization that the fight for survival has just begun. This is where surviving truly becomes a mental and physical battle for long-term endurance. The mistakes that may be forgiven during the initial shock of collapse won't fly now. A disorganized approach, overdependence on stockpiles, or lack of foresight will get you killed. Supplies don't last indefinitely, and scavenging becomes more competitive as others realize they're in the same boat. If you haven't already, you need to start rationing meticulously and planning ahead. Every morsel of food, every drop of water counts. Waste is a luxury no one can afford. Failure to adapt will inevitably lead to hunger, dehydration, and desperation, all of which are killers in this new reality. Your basic needs may still anchor your survival efforts, but now it's about sustainability. Learn how to produce, not just consume. Setting up a reliable water filtration system, developing rudimentary agricultural skills, and even bartering with other survivors will be the only avenues to counter resource depletion. The days of relying solely on stockpiled canned goods are gone. Productive use of time and innovation distinguish the survivors from the casualties. If you haven't started making these shifts yet, then you're already behind. This phase also demands a harsher mindset. Familiar comforts and the illusions of fairness and civility have vanished. People become desperate, and desperation breeds violence. Trust should no longer be an automatic response. It's a liability. Forming small, trustworthy groups can improve your odds, but inviting others into your circle without caution could risk everything. Humans can be as unpredictable and dangerous as any external threat. This isn't a time for sympathy. It's a time for calculated decisions based on survival. Mercy and unguarded empathy can cost you your life or your resources, so act accordingly. Another pressing concern at this stage is emotional and mental resilience. Fatigue, loneliness, and the creeping realization that this is your indefinite new normal can grind a person down. Breaking under the pressure will make you a liability to yourself and anyone in your group. Discipline your mind as much as your body. Maintaining simple routines, focusing on immediate goals, and constantly reminding yourself that survival is possible are crucial in preventing a breakdown. Weakness at this stage, mental or physical, is a death sentence. The comfort of hope has shifted from immediate rescue to creating a new way of living. The decisions you make now need to be sharp, informed, and devoid of sentimentality. Mistakes don't just hurt, they cost lives. Transitioning from immediate survival into long-term endurance is brutal, but it's non-negotiable. Adapt quickly, harden your mindset, and prioritize sustainability. If you thought the first 30 days were hard, what comes next will redefine your limits, because now the hard part begins. 2. The importance of a survival mindset. Survival after the first 30 days demands more than just resources. It demands a hardened mindset. By this point, physical challenges become routine. But the real battle lies in your mind. Simply put, your mental resilience is the difference between enduring and giving up. Humans are adaptable creatures, but letting fear, panic, or apathy take hold is a fast way to fail. You must stay calm. Fear clouds judgment, and poor decisions can cost you dearly. Rational thinking is your greatest weapon. Losing yourself to irrational fears or hopelessness serves no purpose. Every decision, no matter how minor, should be deliberate and calculated. When water is low, ration it. When food supplies are scarce, conserve and plan. Never waste, never gamble. Treat each action like your survival depends on it, because it does. Endurance is non-negotiable. This isn't about sprinting your way to safety. Survival is a marathon, a harsh test of how long you can withstand. The physical exhaustion will wear on you, but the mental strain will hit harder. Dealing with isolation, hunger, and unpredictability is grueling. This is your new normal. You cannot afford to break. The strongest survive because they adapt, not because they're lucky or well-equipped. Luck runs out, gear wears down. The ability to push forward keeps you in the game. Adaptability is key. Plans fall apart, and circumstances change without warning. Whether it's a shift in weather, a dwindling food source, or encountering others, your capacity to adjust determines your success. Those too rigid to pivot will crumble when their plans fail. Survival isn't about perfection. It's about persistence and flexibility in the face of hardship. Finally, hope matters. It isn't about foolish optimism. It's about determination. Hope provides the drive to fight another day, even when the situation seems bleak. Without it, despair takes over, draining energy and stifling efforts. Find small victories. A successful foraging trip, a warm fire, a night of safety. To remind yourself that surviving is still possible. A survival mindset shapes whether you endure or fail. It thrives on mental discipline, clear thinking, grit, and hope. Without it, even the best preparation is useless. Survival comes down to this: strengthen your mind or succumb. 3. Disease as a major threat. Surviving the immediate fallout of a disaster is only the beginning. Once the first 30 days are over, disease becomes one of the most significant threats to your survival. With infrastructure in ruins, sanitation deteriorates rapidly. Trash begins to pile up, attracting pests such as rats and flies, both of which are notorious carriers of deadly bacteria and viruses. Water sources can easily become contaminated with human and animal waste, breeding illness faster than you can imagine. Without proper hygiene, even minor cuts can evolve into serious infections. Basic practices like washing hands, cleaning wounds, and avoiding contaminated surfaces are no longer conveniences, they're life or math decisions. Waste management is a critical yet often overlooked aspect. If garbage and human waste are not properly buried or disposed of, they will quickly become hubs of disease, turning your living area into a breeding ground for bacteria, parasites, and more. Waterborne illnesses such as cholera, dysentery, and giardia thrive in these scenarios. Drinking untreated water or eating improperly washed food can lead to rapid dehydration and severe illness. The lack of a functioning medical system means even common diseases, like the flu or food poisoning, have deadly potential. Accessing clean water must become your #1 priority. Boil it, filter it, or chemically treat it without fail. Beyond cleanliness, preventative healthcare is now in your hands. You need to monitor yourself and others for signs of illness, no matter how minor they might seem. Fevers, muscle cramps, or respiratory issues could indicate something serious is brewing. Without strong immunity, weak or sick individuals will deteriorate faster under post-correction conditions, posing risks for the entire group. Your first aid kit is now your greatest ally. Use it wisely and don't waste resources. Know how to disinfect wounds, set broken bones, and treat fevers. Stockpiling knowledge is as important as stockpiling supplies. Learn essential medical skills before disaster strikes. Time will not wait for you to catch up. Surviving disease requires constant effort. It will not simply go away. Ignoring hygiene or skipping critical safety steps can turn even a small oversight into an outbreak. Stay vigilant, stay clean, and fight for your health every single day. Disease doesn't play fair, and it doesn't wait for you to be ready. It will strike hard and fast. Prepare to resist it at all costs. 4. Resource exhaustion and replenishment. Once you've made it through the first 30 days, survival becomes a marathon, not a sprint. The food, water, and fuel you initially stockpiled won't last forever. Worse, many preppers underestimate just how fast these resources can run out, leaving them vulnerable and scrambling. The key to long-term survival is adapting to resource exhaustion and actively working to replenish what's been consumed. If you fail to plan for this stage, the chances of making it through become slim. Food shortages hit hard and fast. Without proper management, even the most well-stocked pantry will dwindle. Rationing is your primary tool. Eat smartly. Focus on nutrient-dense meals to stretch supplies. Resist the urge to overeat, even when hunger pushes you. At the same time, start expanding your food sources. Learn to forage for wild edibles like plants, berries, and nuts. But make sure you know what's safe to eat. There's no room for mistakes here. Misidentifying a wild plant can cripple you, or worse. Hunting and fishing will become your lifeline. Supplement dwindling food reserves by trapping small game, hunting larger animals, or fishing if you're near a water source. Know your local wildlife, their habits, and the tools you'll need to successfully catch them. Practice before the need becomes dire, because failure to secure food when you need it most could mean starvation. Water is non-negotiable. If your stored supply is gone, switch to gathering and purifying natural sources. Rainwater streams or groundwater can all work, but assume every drop is contaminated until filtered or boiled. Invest in tools like portable water filters or build systems to collect rain effectively. Skimping on water safety will cost you your health quickly. Fuel runs dry. Whether it's for cooking, heating, or transportation, when your fuel is gone, you'll feel it. You'll need alternatives. Wood becomes your best bet for fire if you have access to it. Learn sustainable ways to harvest and store it to avoid completely stripping the local environment. For power, solar devices or wind-powered setups may become critical assets. Lastly, build connections. Trading becomes a survival skill all its own. Barter excess goods or skills with others and form alliances when possible. Even a small network of survivors can make replenishment easier. Isolation breeds failure, while cooperation can give you more tools and resources to survive the long haul. Resource exhaustion is inevitable. Replenishment isn't optional, it's survival. Plan, adapt, and never assume luck will save you. Preparedness is the only real guarantee. 5. Protecting resources from desperation. After the first 30 days, desperation becomes your greatest threat. As resources dwindle, people will go to extreme lengths to survive. If you're not prepared to protect what you've stored, you might lose everything you've worked for. Survival is a zero-sum game at this stage, and the harsh reality is that you'll need to defend your resources or risk losing them. Operational security, OPSEC, talk less. The fewer people who know about your stockpiles, the safer you'll be. It's that simple. Even well-meaning friends or neighbors can inadvertently put you at risk by spreading information. Keep your plans and supplies on a need-to-know basis, shared only with those you explicitly trust. Assume every interaction is a chance for someone to gather intelligence about what you have. Weapons. Especially avoid showing signs of abundance. If you seem better off than others, you'll attract unwanted attention fast. Evaluate risks constantly. And don't fool yourself into thinking everyone is harmless. Layered defenses. Your resources can't just sit out in the open. Create multiple layers of defense to protect your supplies. Start with physical barriers like fences and locks. These slow down or deter entry. Then add psychological deterrents such as warning signs, cameras, even fake ones, or visible security setups to make your location appear too much trouble to raid. Alarms, whether high-tech or simple noise traps, are critical for catching intruders in the act. If you don't regularly maintain and diversify your defenses, they're as good as useless. A weak point in your protection is all an intruder needs to take everything from you. Constant vigilance. Complacency is your enemy. Staying alert for signs of danger is non-negotiable. Watch for unusual activity around your area, suspicious strangers, tracks, noise in the night, and be ready to act. Contingency plans are a must. If plan A doesn't work, what's your plan B? Thinking ahead gives you an edge when things go wrong, and they will. Always assume that someone is watching you, even if the situation appears calm. Maintain awareness and never stop strategizing. Desperation changes people. Protecting your resources means acting decisively and refusing to make mistakes that expose you to theft or violence. You can't save everyone, so focus on securing what you have for those who matter most, your trusted circle and yourself. Naivete has no place here. Stay guarded, stay prepared, and stay ahead. 6. Managing group dynamics. Surviving alone is one thing. Working together as a group is another challenge entirely. Human dynamics are unpredictable, and when stress, fear, and exhaustion set in, group conflicts are almost inevitable. Fatigue will make people irritable, desperation can bring out selfish behavior, and fear might lead to irrational decision-making. Without proper management, these issues can spiral into power struggles, betrayals, or even the group's collapse. Group dynamics aren't a luxury to focus on. They're a necessary for survival. If the group fails, chances are everyone fails. The challenges. Conflicts come quickly and without warning, often over things that seem trivial at first. Dividing resources, disputes about leadership, or frustrations over someone not pulling their weight. These minor tensions can build into larger problems, destroying trust and unity. Guilt, envy, resentment, and paranoia can seep in, poisoning the atmosphere. People are unpredictable under pressure, and survival situations amplify everyone's worst habits. Trust can go out the window, and when that happens, chaos usually isn't far behind. keeping it together. To maintain group cohesion, you need to get ahead of problems before they escalate. First, set the tone early by encouraging open communication. Ignoring the small arguments won't make them go away, it will make them fester. When issues arise, address them immediately and decisively. Weak leadership allows cracks to form, and those cracks can fracture the group beyond repair. Don't feed the drama, resolve it. Second, assign clear roles and responsibilities. People need purpose, especially in high-stress situations. Give everyone a job that matches their strengths and ensures their contribution is acknowledged. This reduces friction and resentment about fairness or effort. When everyone knows their part, the group moves as a cohesive unit rather than a chaotic cluster. Finally, set non-negotiable moral boundaries by establishing a code of conduct. Trust is the backbone of any group, and without it, survival becomes impossible. Stealing resources, abandoning team members in danger, or crossing agreed boundaries can't be tolerated, period. If someone repeatedly disregards the rules, you'll need to either reintegrate them into the system with clear consequences, or seriously consider separating them from the group. Harsh realities sometimes demand harsher decisions. There's no way to make managing group dynamics easy. It's messy, tiring, and stressful. But make no mistake, your group's survival depends on it. Without unity, survival is just a temporary illusion. 7. Mental and emotional survival. Surviving the first 30 days is nothing short of a battle, but the hardest part comes afterward, the mental and emotional strain of long-term survival. When the adrenaline fades and reality sets in, the true challenge begins. Survival isn't just about finding food, water, and shelter. It's about facing the toll of living in constant uncertainty. If you don't actively work on your mental resilience, you're setting yourself up to fail. The toll of long-term survival. Prolonged stress wears you down. The constant weight of survival, endless decisions, looming threats, isolation, chips away at your mental health. Even the strongest individuals aren't immune to apathy or depression when resources are scarce, routines collapse, and hope becomes a distant memory. Fear and uncertainty breed impulsive decisions, and impulsive decisions lead to mistakes. Mistakes can get you killed. One wrong choice can undo weeks of effort. Maintaining morale. Staying mentally strong isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, you won't make it, no matter how physically prepared you think you are. Building daily routines is vital. Give yourself structure. Create a sense of purpose, even if it's something simple. Treat each day like a mission. Tasks to complete, goals to achieve, small steps towards survival. This reduces feelings of aimlessness and makes the days feel less overwhelming. Morale will not fix everything, but without it, you will spiral. Fostering positivity in chaos. It might sound unrealistic, but focusing on small victories is critical. Every clean drink of water, every meal scavenged, every shelter reinforced is a win. Celebrate those moments. They remind you that progress exists, even in dire situations. Stay hopeful, even when it feels pointless. Hope isn't just optimism, it's fuel. Fuel to stay alive. Without it, despair takes over, and despair is a killer. Moving forward, mental and emotional survival boils down to discipline. You need to identify when you're reaching your breaking point and take action. Don't ignore feelings of hopelessness. They don't just go away on their own. Breathe, focus, and keep moving, no matter how slowly. Surviving isn't easy. It's ugly, exhausting, and relentless. But your mind needs to stay as sharp as your blade. Adapt, endure, and above all, don't give in. This is the hard part. Accept it. 8. Adapting survival strategies. Surviving the first 30 days is a massive achievement, but the challenges ahead will only become more complex. The world is not static, and neither are the threats you face. What kept you alive during the initial chaos might fail you as conditions change. Complacency at this stage is a killer. If you assume that what worked yesterday will work tomorrow, you're digging your own grave. To stay ahead, you must remain flexible. This means reassessing your environment constantly. Resources that were plentiful may run dry. New dangers may emerge, and others, once minor, could become critical. Your ability to relocate or pivot your strategy to meet these challenges is non-negotiable. Stubbornly clinging to a failing plan wastes precious time and energy you can't afford to lose. Relocation might become essential, even if staying put felt safe at first. Your secure location could become compromised by hostile groups, environmental damage, or dwindling supplies. Moving is risky, but clinging to a deteriorating situation is worse. Always evaluate the cost of staying versus leaving, and have an actionable plan ready. Scout potential fallback locations early. Don't wait until you're forced to flee empty-handed. Adapting also means scrutinizing your supplies and refining your methods. Treat every item as a finite resource. If your food source is shrinking or your purified water is running low, focus on extending those supplies while finding alternatives. Small efficiencies in how you use tools and provisions can buy you extra days, weeks, or even months. Finally, do not assume the worst is over just because you've settled into a rhythm. Survival after the initial 30 days is a marathon, not a sprint. Pay close attention to your surroundings. Predict how situations may evolve and adjust immediately. Act before you're forced into desperate measures. The key to staying alive is simple but brutal. Assess, adapt, and act without hesitation. Stagnation is death. 9. Building community and trust. The first 30 days might have been about pure survival, but now you'll quickly realize you can't go it alone forever. Building a community isn't just smart, it's essential. Lone wolves eventually burn out, either from exhaustion or from failing to cover their blind spots. Trust is currency in the post-correction world, but it's not handed out freely. It's earned, tested, and in some cases, revoked. Start by identifying individuals or groups who demonstrate value. Look for skills and resources you lack: medical expertise, mechanical skills, farming knowledge, or even sound decision-making under pressure. These people could fill gaps in your survival strategy and increase your chances of long-term sustainability. But don't rush this process. Take the time to observe behavior. Is this person helpful, or are they just around to drain resources? Trust is fragile. One manipulative or lazy individual can destroy your entire group's functioning. When it comes to alliances, be selective. Offer assistance to others sparingly and with clear boundaries. Generosity doesn't mean being foolish. Never put yourself or your group in a position where outsiders could exploit your goodwill. The line between offering help and inviting chaos is thin. Balance is key. Share, but always keep something in reserve for your immediate circle. Diplomacy becomes a valuable tool. Establish mutual benefits before expecting loyalty. Share resources if it makes sense, but expect something equal in return. Build alliances with those who have a vested interest in mutual survival, not those trying to ride free on someone else's efforts. Hidden threats, like freeloading or even full betrayal, are possible. Vet everyone who steps into your circle, and don't be afraid to eject someone if they become deadweight or pose a risk. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of security through numbers. A tight-knit group offers more protection. However, don't sacrifice quality for quantity. Every member needs to bring something to the table, whether it's skills, supplies, or simply unwavering loyalty. Trust is built from consistency. Someone who shows up when it matters proves their worth. Remember, community is your safety net. But like any net, holes appear if you're not paying attention. The second you stop assessing who's within it, you're risking yourself and everyone else.